Okay, so this all started because I was down here working on this aquarium, and this tank I used to have the goldfish. I took them outside because it's getting warm enough for them. I put them in my smaller pond because I don't want to put them in my big pond and then have the sunfish eat them. So I put them in the smaller pond just to grow them out. But I had this tank empty. You know, it has the Oscar. I decided to put some of the cichlids that were inside of this 125 because this breeding pair of convicts are just getting too aggressive. They had everybody in corners. And you can see it's a mess with all the digging and everything. So yeah, they were getting very aggressive. So I brung the male tilapia, which is right there. He's right there. I put this cave in there, so that probably was a bad idea when it comes to filming because they're all hiding in there. But the black belt, the female jaguar dovi, and the Oscar now call this aquarium home. And after I put them in there, I was like, let me just put some snails in there. I wanted to get some snails for this thing, and then I have a little tank upstairs that I'm working on, a little secret. But yeah, I was looking for some snails. You know, my main source for snails is in here. When I first set this filter up, I put in 10 snails. Now I have thousands. And of course, I found a little bit more. Now, the first time I told you guys about the fish living inside this filter, it was mainly plecos. I had plecos in this aquarium. They bred. The babies went up and down that overflow, ended up in there. Both of these two tanks are together. But mainly when there's fish in this tank, they usually come from this tank because this tank has all the breeding. These guys are adults, no mated pairs, so no breeding. So yeah, any babies are coming from this aquarium, getting sucked down, and ended up. Now, even though I took out the breeding pair of plecos that were in this aquarium, I'm still finding a bunch of baby plecos down there. Now, so far, I've collected 2 from out of the filter, put them in this tank. I caught 2 more, put them in this tank. There's one in this tank that is actually black, which is really cool. I don't even know how he got in this aquarium. I did see him in this bucket, and the only way out, well, maybe he could have went that way, but the only main way out is up here. So maybe when I was doing the water change, this comes off. He swam inside my filter, not my filter, my pump, swam up and ended up in there. He's a black pleco, so he is surviving, and he's on this thing. You won't be able to see it because he's very well camouflaged, but black background, black overflow. This guy actually has a chance in this aquarium. But I still have a lot more plecos in here. If I had to be honest, maybe 10 to 20 of them in here. Now when they come in this part, it's easy, kind of easy, because I could put a trap in there and they may go in the trap. I have a trap in there now. But when they come in this one, it's very hard because when I put the trap down there, it gets stuck to the pump and they really don't go into it. So in order to get all the plecos out, I'm probably going to have to wait until I break this whole thing down to set up the new tank and drain everything, and then we're just gonna have to search in it and see where I come up. Maybe I'll make a video about that, but yeah, we're gonna have to really break this thing apart to get all the plecos out. Now, plecos were not the only fish to breed in this aquarium. If we come and look front and center, you can see we have some babies from these convicts. Now, these guys are pretty fresh in the tank, only a couple of days old, but my pink convicts who used to live in this aquarium, she's a pink convict, but before I used to have a pink male and a pink female. They bred in this aquarium, and one time they raised their fry to a decent size, and then they just stopped caring for them. So all the other fish in the tank decided to attack them, and the ones who were smart swam inside my overflow and ended up in the filter. Now, I knew that they were in the filter. They were in there for a couple of months, but these fish were extremely hard to catch. As you can see, well, you can't really see that much, but really not enough room to go in there with a net. Tried to use the trap, but these cichlids are just so smart, the trap wasn't working, so I left them in there for, I don't know, what, 3 months? Now, I know a lot of people don't like the idea of me leaving fish in a filter. People say it's irresponsible, maybe negligent. I kind of understand what you're saying, but I also think that this is a refuge. If these fish would have stayed in this aquarium, no doubt they would have been fish food. They live in a filter, they survive, which I find to be extremely amazing. Now, even though I couldn't catch the convicts, I still stood over here with a fast line and just watched them. And I literally saw them eating snails. Remember, I have thousands of snails, and they were hunting snails to survive in this filter for 3 months. Maybe they got fish food that came down as well, but I saw the big male that was in there hunting snails. So even though it's not really the best setup for these convicts, it still was amazing to watch these guys survive. Now, today, when I went in there to get those snails, I saw them, and I said, let me try to catch them with a net. And somehow I managed to catch one of them, the tiny one, and here she is right here. Now, when I caught her, I didn't know where to put her because she's only, say, ½ an inch. Didn't want to put her in this tank, of course, because he ate about 50 convicts. Didn't want to put him in there because his sister is in there, so she would do the same. Can't go in there, of course, can't go near. And the only place is in here. Now, Right now, because she's so small, she's not a threat, so nobody's going to bother her. But eventually, when she does get bigger, she's going to have to tend with these fish. And this female over here is actually her aunt. With fish, you know, that doesn't matter. Now, she came from out of this chamber of the filter, and I noticed that there was a bigger male. He was the one that I noticed eating the snails. Tried to catch him with the net as well, but this guy was so smart. He knew this bucket like the back of his hand. He knew where to hide. He knew all the dips and cracks and crannies. So he definitely was professional, but he was hungry. So I put a trap in there, and I actually was able to record the moment that he went into the trap. Now, I could put him in this aquarium. It would have been easy for him to adjust because it's the same water. But I know that eventually, when he does get bigger, he's going to have to contend with these. Maybe he would have paired up with his sister and they could have maybe fought. I don't know. But I didn't put him in there. I put him in this aquarium because I do have grow outs. He was about maybe 1.5 inches, so he was big enough to not be eaten by the fish in this aquarium. And also because he has such bigger competitors, it will cause him to grow faster. So right now, not sure where he's at. But the good thing is that he does have a lot of hiding spots in case they do try to test him. He could go, all of this is completely hollow. So he could go inside and all these legs are very hollow. He could swim all throughout it and stay hidden until he's grown. And you know, once he's grown, nothing can defeat a convict. Now I found one new species of fish in this filter. And what other fish could breed in this aquarium to end up with babies in there? Is it the red devil? I have a male and a female over there. I wish it was the red devils because she wants to breed. She actually comes over here and she like dances in front of him and all he does is chases her away. So not them, not yet. Instead we have these little guys up here. These are mosquito fish, and if you look closely, all the females, where are they? Look very fat and pregnant. So I have 10 females and only 1 male. I told you before that my Jaguar Dubai female, when she was in this tank, she ate all the other males. So I only have 1 male, and every time I see him, he's chasing a female. So yeah, of course these guys, they're getting busy doing their thing, having babies. The babies end up being sucked down, and now I have mosquito fish babies in a filter. Now the thing is, these fish are so tiny, I'm gonna have to leave them in a filter until they get a little bit bigger, because no doubt any other aquarium, even my ponds, if I put them in a pond, there's not enough coverage from the plants yet, and they're definitely going to be eaten. So I'm going to leave them in this filter for a few weeks to get a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to figure out what to do with them. But yeah, everyone, it's crazy how this filter ended up being such a nursery. Now, of course, it is bad because 1, I didn't intend on raising fish in this filter, and 2, if I wanted to take the fish out, it definitely is going to be very challenging. And when I do finally end up breaking this down to catch the fish that are in here, I imagine it's going to be a nightmare because I have just the filters itself. All of the detritus build up is going to be extremely dirty and nasty and messy. I can't take this outside because these two are silicone together. In my basement, it won't fit, so I'm going to have to do it down here. We're going to have mud everywhere. But in order to get those fish out, I'm going to have to do it. Now, eventually, once I start building this tank, which should be soon because I just finished my pond filter. I'm not going to give you guys a video yet because I want the plants to grow around the filter because it's ugly as of now. So once all my plants that I'm going to plant grow around it, I'll give you guys the video of me building that filter. But yeah, the filter is built, so that leaves me with time to start building this tank. And once that tank is built, this is going to be filtration for this aquarium. I'm going to make a filtration system for this tank alone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have plecos, but I'm not going to have any pleco caves, which means no breeding, which means no fish inside the filter. There will be some convicts in here, but as I see upstairs, convicts won't breed if they have too many opponents that they can't beat. This tank is going to have some decent sized fish with the convicts, so I don't think that they're going to be breeding, and I shouldn't have to worry about fish in the filter. But yeah, everyone, that's just a day in the life. Now with this tank, last time I told you guys that this big guy was fighting this guy right here, the Oscar. They stopped fighting, but all the peacock bass focused their attention on my Stachylotemensis, which happens to be one of my favorite peacock bass. So now I have to put in this egg crate, and they're scared of it, so it keeps him over there safe and everybody else crowded over here because they're afraid of it. So don't know how long that's gonna have to stay in there. I did order some plastic plants. I wish I could have did all live plants, but I don't have enough and I don't want to buy a lot and then eventually they do decide to kill them. So maybe I'll have a bunch of plastic plants and sneak in some live plants, and hopefully I can take out the plastic plants and just leave the live plants. But yeah, these guys just doing their thing. My favorite fish in this tank, my favorite fish out of all my fish at the moment, flag tempered shield is such a gorgeous fish, such a peaceful fish, relaxing fish to watch. Gentle giant, probably the best fish I'll ever keep just because of that personality. When it comes to fish, personality is everything, and this fish can live with these aggressive fish, survive, handle it, not be stressed out, and at the same time doesn't be too aggressive. He does show some aggression towards these peacock bass, but definitely nothing to stress me out. So definitely love that guy. Peer size starting to grow. But yeah, day in the life. Well, who else? This guy, I'll give you guys a video of this fish as often as I can because he's a champ. Go stick my finger in there. You can see he's kind of fat because he does eat a lot. I'm trying to grow him up. Now with the feeding, of course, I do major water changes, so you get about 75% water changes. But all in the effort of making this guy big and strong. And I'll finish off this video with a look at the waterfall because that right there is the accomplishment of the week. Very soothing and relaxing to watch. So yeah.